Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, my number one is Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel on the Xbox 360. Have you played this?
No, not touched it.
Okay. I blitzed through it and I finished it in, I think it was closer to 8 hours than 6, but yeah. I've seen a few websites, I've scanned a couple of reviews, and the sentiment is widespread. It's, you know, for example, Eurogamer tweeted, "Here's our review by so-and-so, he can't even remember playing it and he finished it yesterday." Jim Sterling said something about how they're just like, there's nothing to define them, they're just so completely, they have no personality at all. I agree with most of that, except I think that this is the third one is by a comfortable distance, it's the best of the three.
Right.
That's not to say it's great. I enjoyed it. The best way I can summarise it is, if you look at it and you want to hate it, you will. If you look at it and you want to love it, you will as well. It does exactly what it says on the tin, with a few flourishes that are really quite disturbing is the wrong word, but I mean, have you seen Overkill mode?
Is that when everything just explodes?
Well, basically, you build it up. You build to with your co-op buddy. You build up meters, and once it's at the top, either of you can deploy this overkill mode, and your weapons become super powerful. So you can you have infinite ammo. So you basically go on a rampage, shooting the shit out of all of the environment. The environment explodes. Almost everything is destroyed. It looks great. But so do the bad guys. So their limbs fly off. They just turn into like massive piles of meat flying all over the place. I mean, it's really satisfying. But if I wasn't a gamer, I'd look at it and be quite. I think that the person playing it was quite disturbed. It's really messy, and it's so satisfying. It's one of the most satisfying parts of the game. And it just looks great, and that's what I like about it. It's called Overkill mode. The game should have just been called Overkill, because it's so OTT. And when you do stuff like that, and then there's moments where scenery, like massive, things in the background that look like they're not interactive, will just collapse if you throw a grenade on them, and it's just loud and obnoxious. And there's a set piece on Cinco de Mayo in Mexico where there's just boxes of fireworks everywhere. So it's chaotic and amusingly so. So yeah, in that sense, it's a little bit more inventive than the first two. If there's one problem, and there are several, but if there's one that sort of sums up how I feel about the game, I might be able to warm to it a little bit if I knew that it had been written by like a 13-year-old boy who won a competition.
Right.
It's not. If you're a wordsmith by trade, it will rankle that whoever wrote this has their name, a credit on it as having written it, because the dialogue is just unbelievably bad. It's like they wanted to offer up something that everybody that plays it has experienced before in some form. So how best to describe it? I mean, for example, near the beginning, they're looking for this girl. They're searching for a damsel in distress. What a surprise. And they find this goon, they run up to him and they say, "Where's the girl?" He says, "Fuck you, pendejo." And then the guy, your character replies, "Wrong answer." And I can't even remember what happens after that, because that's how memorable it is. Half an hour after that, you encounter another goon and you shout, "Where's the girl?" And he says, "Fuck you, pendejo." And then you shoot him in the leg and you interrogate him and you get the information out of him. Aside from the stuff that's so generic, it almost feels like it's trying to satirise something. Well, it's not. It's just brain dead. Brain dead's a polite way of putting it. You just wonder, like I said, if it was a 13-year-old kid, like fulfilling some kind of weird fantasies, you'd be like, okay, but this is clearly the work of an adult, and I find that a little bit bothersome. Dialogue's terrible. There's a bit where they're walking outside. "Oh, the sun's hot, man. Why are you being such a pussy?" "Because you'll get skin cancer, man. We need to be more worried about bullet cancer." That's one of the highlights of the dialogue. It's quite unbelievable how it's. I'm telling you, that was like, oh wow, that's a really good bit of dialogue for this game. But it kind of revels in how shit it is. There's like, oh, aren't I clever references like, "Don't shoot the red barrels. Why? They'd explode. Don't you play video games?" And you're like, the writing, it's not a surprise, but it's terrible. The gameplay is what you'd expect. There's a curious decision being made, because it's so similar to Gears of War, and actually in particular Gears of War Judgment, because it's bite-sized chunks. It's siphoned off into little bits. There's leaderboards and stuff. And that side of it's all right, but they've made a decision to, on the Xbox, you press, clicking the left thumbstick, COD style, is run, but everything to do with cover is the A button, so you can't run into cover without it. It takes some getting used to, and even when you are used to it, it doesn't totally feel like it fits. It's all about earning money. Everything you do earns you money, and then you spend it in an armory designing masks or buying kit or guns and stuff. And yeah, that's fine. It offers up the bare minimum of what you expect of it. But you know, what can I say? It entertained me. I thought it was quite enjoyable. I'd prefer it to have done it on with a co-op with a real person. I did it on with an AI co-op partner, and incidentally, that's quite annoying because overkill mode, they can just deploy it whenever they want, seemingly at random. So you can be walking down the street, there's no enemies, and you've wasted overkill mode because you're playing with a fucking AI idiot. But there's nice touches in it. That all of the guns have really small clips, so you're supposed to coordinate when you're reloading, because it does make a difference on the harder difficulties, but you can't do that obviously if you're playing alone. It's just so big and stupid, and it's just so simple-minded. There's no collectibles, there's no alternate paths, you're never worried about ammo. I never once thought I should probably try and pick up some ammo, but because you never have to worry about it. Yeah, I liked it. It's the best one of the three by a comfortable margin, as I said, and yeah, if you want a co-op dumb as dog shit shoot 'em up, it's a pretty good one, and there is some spectacle as well. The Frostbite engine does look good when you're blowing shit up, so yeah, pretty good, I thought.
Fair enough.